Hey everybody, it's me Tasia. Sorry I've been away for a while. I don't have access to a computer where I'm living right now that has a working web camera, so it's easier for me to view videos rather than make them. But I have sorted out my schedule now, so you will see videos from me on Thursdays more regularly. Sorry, had to put down my phone. I was fiddling with it too much. Okay, anyway, let's move into the topic of last week, which was, what was it? Oh yeah, should you go full time pre or post hormones, like before you start HRT, during the same time you start HRT, or after? And to be quite honest with you, both topics of last week and this week are very controversial, they're very debatable, and they're extremely personal. So the only thing I can do is give you my personal opinion and what works for me. I can't speak for everybody else, so I'm just going to lay that all on the line right now. So if you got to be hating, be hating. I don't care. Okay? Okay. So moving into the topic of this week, it's really hard to kind of pinpoint what you should do, because it depends on your circumstances. It depends on what your work situation is, your family situation, living situation, romantic situation. It depends on many factors, you know. And a lot of it also comes down to, a lot of people's biggest fears is being judged for being transsexual, for being spottable, for being unpassable. But those fears exist whether you like them or not, whether you're on hormones or not, and whether you are more developed or not. Like, it just doesn't work that way, you know. If anything, once you start HRT, you're going to be more emotional. So when those things do happen, you're not going to have as much emotional, you're going to be a lot more emotional when it comes to situations. You're going to have a more adverse, negative emotion towards those reactions that you get on a daily basis. And I'm not saying that everybody gets them, because it depends on who you are, and it comes down to your passability. And passability can be broken down on many levels. There is a kinetic level, a physical level, a mental level, an emotional level. There's many different factors to passability, and although some of those categories do seem quite similar, they are all very different in their own way. They kind of lead into each other, but they're very different. Now, there is no right or wrong way. It depends on what you're comfortable with. But as personal advice, I would tell you that going full time after only does you more of a disservice than going full time before you start HRT. Because at least if you start going full time before HRT, you have time to build up to who you are. You have time to deal with the negativity that comes with being a transgendered individual, and then you can, once you start HRT, you're more equipped to know how to deal with those situations. They're more normalized. But again, it depends on situations, it depends on you, and that is something you're going to have to decide for yourself. Moving on to this week's topic, it's about, what is it about? Oh yeah, how cis supporters describe transgenderism or transsexualism to those who are unenlightened about the situation. And again, this is very, very, very personal. I will say that someone made a really good point. I forget who it was, but they said that if you are a cis supporter of transgenderism, then you should be able to step in with 2 feet. Like, you should be able to get your feet wet into the entire situation. You should be willing to want to paint the colors rather than simplify it. But I do understand on a very personal level how it is to describe your situation to ignorant people. Again, it depends on who you're talking to, because I find that men especially, and some smaller town women, tend to be this way. Not to say that they're completely ignorant to everything, it's just that transgenderism isn't usually something that usually crosses their path very often in life. So when it comes to learning about the situation, it's very difficult for them to comprehend for some reason. And I don't mean to cause any controversy in saying this, but I think that if you're dealing with an ignorant beep, then the best way to describe the situation, I think, is to say a girl trapped inside a boy's body. Which, I don't know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I think the wording is wrong. I would go along the lines of, I was born with the brain of a female and the body characteristically male. That is what I would say. Sometimes those words are just too big for themselves. So I would kind of go with the whole girl trapped inside a boy's body situation. I mean, again, it depends on the person, it depends on the circumstances, it depends on how much information you want to give to that individual. Maybe it's the fact that they are interested in your trans friend and they're actually wanting to get to know their situation. That is when you need to jump in with 2 feet and you ditch the whole girl trapped in a boy's body situation and you break down the research, girlfriend, okay? Or boyfriend, whatever you are. You just break it down for them, alright? Like, holy Dinah. Like, break it down, girl! Work it out. Like, oh my god. So, I highly, highly suggest that as a cis supporter, if you have someone that you know that is transsexual, ask that person. Because I know myself as a transgendered individual, I would rather someone ask me how I want my situation to be presented, if I want my situation to be presented at all. And I also, you know, it's very personal. If you don't know somebody that's trans, then I would say do some research, do some research, make sure you're knowledgeable, because I mean, when I'm talking to somebody, for me, it's easiest to say, well, it's not easiest to say, but when I get into the complexity of it, it's, I don't know, like this is an example of how it's completely personal preference. Like, everybody identifies on the trans scale somehow, somewhere. I recognize transsexuality as part of my condition, and I say it as a medical term because I have to physically correct my body to match my brain. Like, I have to help my body become what it's supposed to be, and I don't personally identify, and I have really hard troubles identifying with the whole transsexual, transgendered image or identity. I don't have that label on myself. I am just a regular, normal woman like any other woman on the entire planet, okay? Some women have bigger clits than other women. I hate to be graphic. Some women have no tits. Some women are tall. Some women have facial hair. Like, young women have facial hair, okay? Like, I was just watching Essie Button's channel, and she just did a video with what's her name? Oh, I have no idea. If you search SE Button, you'll find it. And they're talking about shit like waxing their mustaches. So, you know, don't feel alone, girls, alright? It happens to regular women everywhere. You know, I just was born inside out, let's call it. You know, and it's just a medical condition that is fixable. You know, there are tons of women who can't have children. You know, I'm just one of them. There are tons of women in the world who have deeper voices. I am probably one of them. You know, like I accept the fact that transgendered is the medical term in which we use to define what is wrong or what needs correcting, and I recognize transsexual as the process of going from one physical gender to the next physical gender. And but other than that, like, that's as far as it goes for me. You know, I'm not sitting here like, yo girl, I'm a tranny. I'm a transsexual. Transgendered. Yep. You know, I just personally don't identify with any of that. Anyway, this video is getting really long and I'm rambling, but basically it's very personal. It depends on your stories, it depends on your situations, it's all down to personal preference. There's honestly, sorry, I totally just burped. Girl. It just is very dependent on you. You and what you want to do, because there is no such thing as doing it in the wrong order. There's no such thing as doing it the wrong way. Well, there is, but that's an entirely different topic. And yeah, that is all, kids. So to my trans youths, love and respect yourself. If you want to know more about me, my channel is xoquestionmarkox. And until next time, I will see you all later. Bye.